Hey guys, this is Brandon's Baseball Blogs. Welcome back. We're going to be doing this sports interview with my friend Randy to recap the NFL draft that happened and the moves, and to honor the player that lost his mom the day that he was drafted. And also we're going to talk about how the Red Sox have had some big success lately, and how the Yankees have had really big success, and we've seen so much historic stuff. And also about Backlash, and about how wrestling has been since WrestleMania, and just everything. But honestly, I just had to say this. I'm sorry for the player's loss of his mom after he was drafted. And also, I honestly think that the Buccaneers made some really good moves, and they really made some really great moves on their defense and their offense. The Eagles really did some good moves also, and the Chiefs did some okay moves. And also, I did see the what do you call it? The Jets made some good moves. And I did see the Cowboys made some good moves. My honest opinion, they really did some really good moves on the draft. It was awesome to see the NFL draft, and also to see John Cena and Jimmy Uso announce some of the drafts. That's really awesome to see. And also, we did see Damien joined MLB Network to discuss himself being a fan of the Yankees and growing up as a fan in New York, and also for meeting Aaron Judge and how Judge is his hero. And honestly, Damien Priest, even if some people don't like him, he's a really good wrestler, but also he's a good person on the outside. He actually does this. He actually donates to the community, and he also helps out everybody. And he even said he focuses on helping, and being a fan of New York is honestly the best thing, and he wants to be like Aaron Judge. And here's my friend Randy to talk all about that. Here's my friend Randy.
Hello.
So Randy, what did you think of the NFL draft and just in general?
Okay, so agreeing, like, there are some good picks and there are some interesting picks. The most interesting pick that I thought was the Cleveland Browns on Shedeur Sanders. That was very interesting. I wonder how Deion Sanders feels about his son going to the Cleveland Browns. Because I thought he was expecting him to go to, like, the 49ers or the Cowboys or the teams that he played for, not the Cleveland Browns or the Ravens or the high quality good teams that made it.
Yeah. And what'd you think of the Buccaneer moves, the Eagles moves, the Jets moves, and the Bills made some really great moves, and the Giants made some okay moves, and just like we saw a lot of them. And also that player that got drafted and found out his mom had passed the same time as he was drafted, and also a player got pranked after he got drafted saying, "Oh, you're going to be traded," when it actually never did.
That was the messed up part. Like, you're gonna get traded, but you never did.
And what do you have to say about the player that got drafted the same night he found out his mom had passed away?
I want to say this realistically to you, brother. Congratulations for getting drafted to the NFL. And I'm sorry for your loss, because that's the most hardest thing to find out. Like, you're getting drafted and you lost your mother in the draft. So my heart is going out to you, brother, and congratulations and sorry for your loss.
Mm-hmm. And what'd you think of the Bills' moves and the Buccaneers and the Eagles, Jets, and Giants and Cowboys moves that they made, and some of the Chiefs?
Okay, so I hope the Jets actually feel proud of the moves they made, because, okay, they should never gave up on Rodgers. That's my 100% opinion, okay?
Uh-huh.
But the Steelers are stupid enough to take Russell Wilson, and now he's on the Giants.
Yep.
Now, the quarterback for the Jets is the backup quarterback for the Steelers from last year's season, and the starter for this year's.
Yeah.
But imagine he does not become a starter.
That'd be crazy. And they're saying about the Buccaneers that they have now the youngest offensive line and the youngest defense, and their defense and offense looks even better than last year. It looks like the 2021 Super Bowl champion Buccaneers.
Yeah.
With Tom Brady. And what do you think of the Buccaneers' moves?
Insane. It's like, okay, so it's like, all right, if you look at it, it's like the young squad of the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and everything.
Yep.
But now it's the young Buccaneers. Like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah. And what do you think of the Buffalo Bills' moves? They made some really great moves with their defense and offense and everything. They even got a quarterback and just everything.
Okay, so that's what I felt the Chiefs should have done. Because why do you think the Chiefs crumbled last year in the Super Bowl? Because they made some good decisions on their offense, but like before the playoffs, but they did not make smarter moves than the Eagles. Though that's why we won that year.
Yeah, and what do you think of the Bills in general, like the Buffalo Bills moves that they made?
If the moves that the Bills made, they hopefully they can make it to their next round of the playoffs.
True. It'd be cool to see them win a Super Bowl. And what do you think of the Eagles' moves that they made in the draft?
Insane moves.
Because I thought they made some okay moves and some good moves, but also some confusing moves a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're not going to get the best pick because they don't need a quarterback right now.
They don't.
They don't. They have a really good starter quarterback, which is Jalen Hurts, and then they have really good backup quarterbacks. They just really need the wide receivers, the tight ends, because they just got. Well, they don't need the wide receivers. They have A.J. Brown and Smith, and then they also
Barkley.
But they really need a tight end right now.
Yeah, I think they drafted one. And what is your thought of what Damien Priest said on MLB Network? And it was his 4th time joining MLB Network to talk about wrestling, but also talk about his experience with working with the Yankees and their hype for the World Series last year, and his fan of him being a fan in New York, growing up as a fan of the Yankees, and Aaron Judge being his hero and meeting him in person, and just like how he's grown as a person, Damien Priest.
That's like the coolest thing because like not just wrestlers just love the sport of wrestling, they like other sports too, like basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever you name it.
Yeah.
So like and also Damien Priest comes from Puerto Rico, so the thing about Puerto Rico, they love the game of freaking baseball.
Yeah. And what did you think of what he said? How he grew up as a fan of the Yankees, growing up in New York, and how he met Aaron Judge, and he's like, wow, he's a big guy, but he's also very humble, more than like other guys he's met, and how Aaron Judge is his hero, and how he wants to be like Aaron Judge, and how he talked about not just wrestling, but he talked about being a leader like how Judge is, and about how he was asked by the Yankees, can you do our narration of our hype for the World Series last year, and how he may do it again this year, if we make it.
That'd be insane.
And what did you think of it? How MLB Network usually does MLB players, but this is the fourth time in 4 years they've brought a WWE superstar, which is Damien Priest. They did it last year. They did it the year before, and now this year. How MLB Network asks him, do you want to join and talk? What's your thought on that?
Insane.
And do you think it's cool that MLB Network is bringing wrestlers on the show to talk? Do you think it's cool?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, what did you think about how Damien Priest, as a wrestler but also as a leader?
Damien Priest has always been a leader in the locker room and out of the locker room. So, like, you have to say anything bad about Damien Priest.
Yeah. And what did you think about what he said about how he grew up in a poor community and how he had to help his family so much, and then they helped him become who he is now in the Bronx, and how his life has changed, and how he told MLB Network how he's getting ready for Backlash in his match against Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, and LA Knight for the United States Championship.
That's going to be an insane match. I'm not going to lie. That's gonna be...
And what do you think of it? How he talked to MLB Network about being a wrestler and getting ready for Backlash. What did you think about that? About him talking about getting ready?
It's going to be a good Backlash.
Yeah. And what do you think about Pat McAfee versus Gunther?
That's going to be a good match. I did not expect Gunther going to be suspended definitely and then come back just like that.
I don't know why, but I had a feeling he was, but I didn't think they would bring him back immediately.
Well, they did that for him, but why not Brock Lesnar?
True. You're right about that. And what do you think about this? About how, what do you call it? How the NFL draft had John Cena announce some draft picks. They had Jimmy Uso make announcements of their draft picks of the 49ers with him holding a belt that had the logo of the 49ers on. And what'd you think about seeing Cena and Jimmy Uso actually announce the draft picks?
That's actually insane. That's cool.
And it's honestly really cool that we've seen about all these updates with MLB and wrestling. What do you think about the updates with wrestling there's been?
Okay, I'm just shocked about how many freaking wrestlers that was released. I feel like they should not release Gigi Dalton. They should not release Cora Jade. Like, the
Or
heck?
Braun Strowman.
They could have used him with the YS6. Well, the YS6 is not on air right now because Bo Dallas is still recovering from injury, so that's the reason why.
Yeah.
But they're saying that, well, Gigi Dalton's real name is Priscilla Kelly, so she's going to be using that name again because she's no longer... Because Gigi Dalton is sponsored by WWE, so now she's going back to the name as Priscilla Kelly, where she was using it from the indie scenes, and then Cora Jade is no longer Cora Jade. It's going by a different name, wherever she started with from AEW, whatever.
That's true.
But now, and then someone that was teaming with Lash Legends from NXT got released. So now, Cora Jade, Priscilla Kelly, and Lash Legends' old teammate is now making a 3-woman team. But they don't know where they're going to go. But there's a rumor that Dakota Kai might be signing with AEW.
Honestly, I'd be happy with that.
Oh, heck no. AEW is the worst. Okay, so no, that would not be good. If you look at it,
She should be back on Raw.
okay, so hear me out. Why I say heck no to AEW. If you've seen what happened with every WWE superstar that left WWE, went to AEW, they do whatever. They do whatever. Like, look what they did with Saraya, aka Paige from WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave her the AEW's Women's World Champion, right?
Yeah.
Gave her fame for a few seconds, and then what they do? Take away from her, just like that. They didn't do that to Jon Moxley, but they did that to Saraya.
I understand that totally. Also, we're going to be talking about, honestly, how the Yankees have been doing really good and they're still in first place, even though they struggle a little here and there a little bit. But then how we've been able to come back and still win a series and then lose a series, but then we come back. Honestly, my opinion, the Yankees and all of baseball, they're going to once in a while struggle for a while where they win a series, then they lose a series. That's my honest opinion. But also, we saw Aaron Judge win the AL Player of the Month, and we saw Pete Alonso of the Mets win NL Player of the Month. We saw Max Fried win AL Pitcher of the Month. We saw Luis Angel Acuna, the younger brother of Ronald Acuna Jr., win the NL Rookie of the Month award for the Mets. And we saw Boston Red Sox rookie Christian Campbell win Rookie of the Month for the AL. And we saw all these players dominating with over 300 average, 4 home runs, 10 home runs, and 30 RBIs, and at least 10 stolen bases. We've seen a lot of them dominate baseball. And also, we've been seeing all of them really dominate. And we did see Max Fried made some history. He's the first Yankee left-handed pitcher since CC Sabathia to actually win 7 games in a row in his first 7 starts. And to have the Yankees be 8-0 in his starts. And honestly, Max Fried has been very dominant for the Yankees. And I admit, it's hard to see the Yankees bullpen and rotation without Garrett Cole. But you know this, the Yankees went 3.5, almost 4 months last year without Garrett Cole. And we still was in first place. And we still did very well. And we still went to the World Series. But also, even if we're going to be out the year without Garrett Cole, and he may come back in September, but we don't know. But even if we do go the whole year without him, and we could still do well. We just need Carrasco, Rodon, and Schmidt. And when Stroman comes back, we'll need all of them to step up for the Yankees. Because honestly, we should see them step up. Because if you don't step up, the team's not going to do well. But also, it shouldn't be just Aaron Judge hitting all the big home runs, getting all the hits. And also, congrats to Corbin Valdez on your first big league hit, a 2-run double. And congrats to J.C. Asara on your first major league home run as a New York Yankee and in baseball. That's awesome feeling. Also, we did see the Boston Red Sox have been doing very well. And we saw Alex Bregman. He's been on fire for the Red Sox so far. He has over 7 home runs already this year. He has over a 300 batting average, a little bit more, and over 24 RBIs. And Bregman has been on fire for the Red Sox. Honestly, it's a good signing for him. I honestly see him opting out and then signing a big contract extension. And we've been seeing the Mets are still doing very well also. We saw the Mets have the best start in 29 games to start the season, 21-9. And they're in first place. The Phillies are 2 games out from the Mets. The Phillies are literally 2 games away from taking first. But the Mets are 23-12. Literally, the Mets are a really surprising team. They're doing very well. And finally, Juan Soto's finally doing well. But I noticed this. Like Nick Chiruru, the actor, said, I honestly think I agree with him. Why is Soto looking so sad right now? When you're getting paid, but also you're doing well for the Mets. And you're doing pretty good for them. And I'm like, Soto, you should be happy. And why aren't you doing your shuffle that you usually do? It's a little odd. But honestly, seeing all the Red Sox doing well, the Mets doing well, seeing the Mariners do well, the Padres doing really good, and the Dodgers, it's honestly great to see. And here's my friend Randy to talk about all these cool baseball moves that we're seeing. So, Randy, what do you think of it that the Yankees have been doing okay? They win a series or two, and then they lose a couple. They lose one series, and then they come back and win, and then they lose one. But also how it's normal for a team to win a couple of series, and then they lose a couple. But honestly, seeing Aaron Judge win the AL Player of the Month and Max Fried win the AL Pitcher of the Month. What do you think of that?
I can see that.
And what do you think of how fans say, oh, we should win every series? I honestly agree we should, but it's hard to win every game.
Yeah, it is hard to win every game. I'm not going to lie.
And what do you think of it? Max Fried is the first Yankees left-handed pitcher since Hall of Famer CC Sabathia to go 7-0 in his first 7 starts as a Yankee, and have the Yankees go 8-0 in his starts, and following a loss, he comes back and gets us the win. What do you think of that?
It's insane. I'm not going to lie.
About how he's made history with the Hall of Fame former player. And what do you think of it that the Mets, Pete Alonso, is the NL Player of the Month award winner for doing very well in March through April, and Judge is the AL Player of the Month award winner, and we saw Mets rookie Luis Angel Acuna, who's the Ronald Acuna Jr.'s younger brother, is the NL Rookie of the Month for the Mets for doing very well, and seeing Christian Campbell for the Red Sox, the rookie, being the AL Rookie of the Month award winner.
Insane.
And what do you think of him so far?
Amazing.
He's been getting more big hits, more RBIs, and just being a really good player. What do you think of it?
I give it A+ status.
And what do you think of Alex Bregman doing very well? He's been on fire since the start of the season with 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, and a 300 average.
That's not bad. That's actually good.
And what do you think of it? The Red Sox are right behind the Yankees. They're in second place, and they're 3 games out from first, and how the Red Sox and the Yankees are that close to each other again.
Not bad.
And what do you think of it? It reminds of the 2018 season where it went back and forth, where the Yankees were in first, then the Red Sox, Yankees, Red Sox.
That's going to be cool.
Because MLB has been saying it's looking like that. What do you think?
I'm going to be like, let's see like where this series is going to end.
And what do you think of this? The Mets are in first place. They started the season 22-9, and they're still in first. And how Soto is doing better for the Mets, but he doesn't look happy for some reason.
Well, that's his fault for leaving the Yankees.
And, like, do you think he should be happy for the contract he got and that he's doing pretty good for the Mets right now?
Well, he's doing good for the Mets, but, like, just because you're doing good for a different team doesn't mean you should be happy that you're doing good for a team. You should have just stayed with the team where you were happy and not be happy and not be unhappy at another team.
True. And what do you think of this, that the Phillies are 2 games out from first place, and they're keeping it really tight with the Mets.
Did you say Phillies?
The Phillies are 2 games out from first place, and they're keeping it tight with the Mets.
Grandma, we gotta go to Philly. We gotta get out to Philly's cheesesteak. Official Philadelphia Philly cheesesteak. We need that shit right now.
What do you think of it? About the Phillies actually being 2 games out from first, and they're keeping it right there and tight with the Mets. And how the Phillies were off to a great start, but now the Mets are still in first, and how the Phillies are catching up to them.
I just want to know how in the world did the Mets get in first place?
Well, isn't it true? We see usually early in the year, we usually see the Mets be in first for a while, and then they drop it.
Oh, yeah, they usually do that.
Well, the Mets kind of look like a different team right now. They actually look a little bit better. And what is your thought of it? How the Mets and Phillies are really doing great, and the Braves are finally starting to win more games and are finally starting to come back.
Insane, but it's weird. How in the world is the Mets in first place?
I remember they were in first place last year for a little bit, and then the Phillies were in first for the year. And the year before, the Mets were in first until sometime in September.
Yeah.
And what do you think of it? How the Mets and Phillies are met for the first time in the postseason against each other in the NLDS, and the Mets beat the Phillies in that series to go on to the NLCS. And now the Mets and Phillies are fighting for the division again, and where the Mets are in first by only 2 games, and the Phillies are right behind them.
Nice.
What do you think of that kind of rivalry with the Mets and Phillies?
It's insane.
And what do you think of this? Jacob deGrom is finally healthy, and he is been dominating. He's been having over 6 innings pitched, almost 7 innings pitched, almost every start with 12 strikeouts, and he's been getting the big starts for the Rangers and helping them.
Nice.
And he's a former Met.
Insane.
And also, Mike Trout was placed on the injured list because he has a bone bruise in his left knee. What do you have to say to Mike Trout? And after he was doing well for the start of the season, with 9 home runs, 15 RBIs, and doing much better. But how
how in the world did they freaking do that shit? Isn't it?
Where the Angels said, just take your time, get healed and get better, and then we'll put you back in the lineup. What do you think of the Angels taking it slow with him?
That's good, but insane, dude.
Yeah. And Giancarlo Stanton said he should be back sooner than we expect. Possibly the end of May or middle of May and beginning of June. What do you think of that?
That's good.
And what do you think of the fans finally are giving up on the torpedo bats being so-called cheating, and how players are not cheating with torpedo bats, and how they're also looking for better bats?
It is.
It's like they should stop accusing them. And what do you think of this about the MLB history that was made with the Royals and the Orioles yesterday? They hit a combined 11 home runs on each side in that one game. And it was history. The first time we saw the 11 home runs from both sides, from both teams, homer in the same game.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that history?
Okay, so they had, I don't, well,
The Orioles hit 5 and the Royals hit 6 home runs. So it was combined together 11 home runs. And it was history. And the Royals, one of the Royals players hit 2 home runs. The Orioles player hit 2 home runs, which was his first multi-home run game. And we saw a bunch of the players hit home runs, and the Royals ended up winning 12 to 7 or 8. But it was history. 11 home runs in that game. Combined both sides.
Yeah, that's insane.
What'd you think of the Orioles and Royals history?
Crazy.
Also, we did see the what do you call it? We saw Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers become the first player in history of baseball to homer twice in the 9th inning of a game. What do you think of that?
Insane.
Because his first bat of the 9th inning was a go-ahead home run. And then later in the inning, a 3-run shot. Also, what do you have to say? It was Sarah Lang's birthday. She has ALS and Lou Gehrig's disease, and she's been a big MLB analyst for a long time, and how Aaron Judge and everybody says happy birthday and to honor her. It was her birthday the other day.
Happy birthday yesterday.
To Sarah Langs.
I don't know how to pronounce that shit.
It's alright. And what do you think of Shohei Ohtani and Trent Grisham homering for the first time as a father after having their kid?
Congratulations.
And also, there was news on MLB that we saw the big rookie Chandler Simpson, who stole over 115 bags over the last 2 seasons in the minor leagues, get called up by the Rays. And his speed has been on fire. He's getting hits, stolen bases, and everything. What do you think of it? The Rays are giving him a chance in the big leagues.
Congratulations, you made it to the big leagues, kid.
And what do you think of it that he's a young superstar and he has this amazing speed that we haven't seen since Ellie De La Cruz last year?
What up, Cruz? What up? What up, twin?
And what do you think of it that they're bringing up more young stars just because they're trying to get over what's happened in the past?
That's really smart to do that, because with what that player did in the past, they need to bring more younger players in because of that debt that they freaking risked on that player.
Yeah. And also, we saw some NFL players actually being honoring. Oh, so not NFL players. We saw the MLB players talking about their favorite Star Wars characters and movies. What do you think of it? What do you think of the baseball players talking about their favorite Star Wars characters and movies?
Really cool.
And honestly, we're going to be talking about the Backlash that's coming up next Saturday. And we're going to see Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. And we're going to see Becky Lynch speak on the mic tonight. And also we're going to see Seth, Paul, and Braun tonight, because they want to send a message to the WWE Universe, and I wonder what that's going to be. And we're also going to see, for the United States Championship, Damien Priest versus Jacob Fatu, the champion, versus Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. Then we're going to see Gunther versus Pat McAfee. And my opinion is those are all going to be good matches, but I honestly think that it could be either Fatu winning to retain it, or it could be McIntyre winning. But honestly, I just have this weird feeling LA Knight may sneak the victory, but I don't know. Because it's going to be a really good match. But my honest opinion, Backlash, it's going to be cool when we see John Cena versus Randy Orton, because literally those two have had a long history with each other. And it's been cool to see Randy Orton RKO John Cena twice and sneak up on him like that and call him out on so much stuff. And it's like, you don't want to mess with the Viper, the apex predator. And also, it's kind of shocking we haven't seen Cody Rhodes since WrestleMania, but I honestly agree he needs a break. But there was a plan. The Rock and Cena and Cody asked each other who should turn heel now. And Cody was thinking about doing it, but The Rock said, wait until a different time. It will come soon than you expect. Soon you will be turning heel. And I'm like, that would be cool to see Cody turn heel soon, because we could see it happen very soon. And also, we did see Seth Rollins do a motion that The Rock usually does. This. And that was what The Rock did. I'm like, Seth Rollins sold his soul to The Rock. Here's my friend Randy to talk about wrestling and all about this, and when we could see Cody Rhodes return. I honestly think he could return by maybe Money in the Bank or Backlash. So Randy, what do you think about Backlash coming up?
I'm excited.
And what do you think of Becky Lynch versus Lyra?
I hate to say I hate Becky Lynch, but hopefully Lyra wins, even though I'm not a big fan of Lyra, and I wasn't a big fan that they both won the titles at Mania, and then all of a sudden they lose it after Mania. So what was the whole point of that?
True. And what do you think of Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damien?
I feel like Jacob Fatu is going to win that because, he just won the title at Mania, and they got to push him at some point so he could be a world champion or something,
True. And what do you think of how Drew almost helped them is now turning against them, and how LA Knight said, where Drew said, your second reign as champion was a joke, and LA Knight's like, literally, I don't remember when your last title run. Oh yeah, it was like years ago that no one remembers.
Oh my god, that was insane. That was an insane phrase. I was like, oh shoot. He went hard body on that shit. So I was like, yo, there's no possible way. He said you had a reign that no one even cared about.
Yeah. And what do you think about LA Knight on the mic? What do you think about LA Knight on the mic?
He's actually good on the mic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he's good on the mic. I'm not gonna lie. Jacob Fatu is amazing on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Priest is amazing on the mic. I mean, Solo is like, he can be better. He needs a little bit more.
True, and I honestly see if Solo costs Jacob this match, they're gonna... it's not gonna end well for those two.
Yeah.
What do you think about how Solo almost took credit from Jacob Fatu's title win?
Yeah, that was...
What?
I feel like if Solo screws over Jacob, that would be insane.
And what do you think about how Solo's like, I'm the one that got him to win that title? And how he was taking credit.
Yeah, Solo does do that.
And what do you think of it? How Jacob's like, I did it on my own.
Yeah.
And what do you think of Fatu, honestly?
Okay. The only thing I can give credit to Solo is that bringing Tama Tonga, Tamaloa, and Jacob to the WWE, but the only credit I cannot give him is Jacob winning the freaking United States title. That's the thing.
Yeah.
What did you even... I'm like, Solo, the only title you won as a singles title in WWE was the NXT North American title. You haven't even won a singles main roster title yet.
It's true. And what do you think of Pat McAfee versus Gunther?
Okay, this is Pat McAfee's third, fourth match. This is going to be insane.
Think. I don't remember.
He
versed The Miz at WrestleMania.
Hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Hold up. I'm going to do the research. Pat McAfee. On WWE match. Matches. So he versed. Okay. And who he faced. Okay, so I remember,
What?
hold up, I'm trying to think, how many matches he been in?
Probably like 3 or 4, I'm guessing.
Okay, how many, hold on, I got a better one. Because how many matches he faced? Okay. It says, he faced Adam Cole in NXT, Miz at WrestleMania 40.
That's what I said.
Okay, and then he also...
No, WrestleMania 39.
And 38.
Yep.
And then Gunther is going to be his fourth match.
Yep.
So that's insane. That's incredible.
Yeah. And what do you think about John Cena versus Randy Orton? Those two legends. Good. And what do you think of their legacy between those two? Between the Viper and Cena.
That's going to be a good match.
And what do you think of how their last segment where Randy Orton was trying to convince John and why to turn back into the good guy and why he turned heel and where's the hustle, loyalty, and respect and the heart, and how he said there should be little Johns running around and how that John should have kids of his own and how John said, I'm going to erase the Orton name.
Insane.
What do you think of their segments they've had lately?
Insane. I love it.
And plus, what do you think of Randy Orton sneaking up and RKOing him both times?
Insane.
This would be cool to see Randy Orton win his 15th championship.
If he did, that would be insane.
True. And what do you think of I'm trying to remember the other ones that we could see. When do you think Cody Rhodes is going to return?
If I have this premonition, okay? If John Cena has someone to screw over Randy Orton, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if Randy Orton had backup as Cody Rhodes at Backlash? That would be insane.
That'd be true and cool. And when do you think he could come back, though, and challenge John?
Or imagine Cody screws Randy Orton, and then he faces John for his rematch.
True, that could happen. And what do you think of the plan that The Rock said that he apparently talked with Cena and Cody, saying, which one of you does want to turn heel? And Cody was thinking about doing it, but Rock told him, not now, but soon. Wait for the right moment, and that it will be soon that you will turn heel. Very soon. You were saying?
It's impressive.
And what do you think of it, how we saw Seth Rollins do the motion of The Rock, where he did the fingers across the neck, and then the one to the sky, where it was The Rock, where there's rumors that Seth sold his soul to The Rock.
Insane.
Do you think he did that?
Yeah, I think he did.
And what do you think of him and Paul and Braun?
Not a big fan of that faction, to be honest. Not really a big fan of it. But it's an okay faction, I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of what do you think their message is going to be to the WWE Universe tonight?
I don't know. I'm still wondering what's that going to be, to be honest. That's going to be weird, and what they're going to do.
And what do you think of the Roxanne versus Io?
That's going to be good.
And apparently we're going to get Nia versus Tiffany again.
Oh, great.
What do you think of that?
That would be great.
Like, do you think we should get Tiffany versus Jade or Naomi?
Okay, that's going to happen. So, okay, my prediction is because after Backlash is Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel if Nia Jax fails against Tiffany Stratton, it's going to be Jay Cargill and Tiffany Stratton and Jay Cargill at Money in the Bank, and then Naomi is going to win Money in the Bank and cash in on whoever wins that match.
True. And what do you think of this? We could see Jay versus Logan Paul.
Oh, I just, even though he beat a former world champion, I just don't understand why they would give him
another match. Another world title match.
Yeah.
And what do you think of just the Raws and SmackDowns after Mania?
Insane.
You think they've been good?
I mean, I haven't watched SmackDown because I don't have cable, but I've been watching Raw. Raw is pretty good.
True. And what do you think about how we could see Roman and Punk team up against Seth and Braun?
Okay, I'm gonna love that, but like, I'm looking forward to Jon Moxley coming back to WWE as Dean Ambrose to get payback for what Seth did to Roman and what Paul did to Roman.
True. And plus, do you think Seth is going to challenge Jay for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Oh, no shot of doubt, because if you look at it, he got screwed at WrestleMania.
True. And what do you think of just like the whole match lineup for Backlash?
It looks really good of what it looks like, to be honest.
True. You're right about that. And
the whole like matches is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And what do you think about how we saw I'm trying to think of it, how Becky attacked Bayley?
I had to figure that's what happened, to be honest.
Yeah. And what do you think about how we saw some baseball analysts at Raw and SmackDown, which was Jeff Passan?
Dude, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. And What do you think about just like how wrestling has improved in general?
Just everything, like, everything's been better.
True. And I do want to say thank you for doing the sports interview. And
You're welcome.
this will be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
If you haven't forgotten, like, subscribe, post that notification, tap that notification, comments, like, subscribe, and then always tell us what you want us to talk about next. And we always love your appreciation watching us talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.